This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Mike Sedita.
Welcome to the Good Neighbor Podcast. I am your host, Mike Sedita. Today, we're recording episode 163, and we have with us the president and owner of Proforma, Janice Pratt. Janice, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Mike. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. I'm enjoying this lovely weather. We haven't had rain here, and we're probably going to get a downpour today, but we haven't had rain in a while. Plus, people don't even know when we're recording this. We could be recording this back in March for all anybody knows. So
that's cliche to say, but we need the rain.
But we do need the rain. So it's good to have you on with us. Just so you know a little bit about what the Good Neighbor Podcast is and how we got started and why we do what we do. Back in 2020 during COVID, when everybody needed to be socially distant, the Good Neighbor Podcast was born in Southwest Florida as a way for business owners to talk a little bit about their business to people in the community, to other business owners, kind of do that collective getting together and networking without actually being able to network. And now 4 years later, the Good Neighbor Podcast is still in South Florida. It's here in Tampa. It's in Atlanta, Virginia, Philadelphia, Denver, the Midwest. We're all over the country. I'm fortunate enough to be the person here in Tampa that gets to speak to entrepreneurs and business owners. So with that said, tell us a little bit about Proforma.
Actually, Proforma is a franchise organization. They are one of the country's largest provider of printing services, promotional products, branded apparel, and many other technical solutions. We also are a leader in building and running company stores, online stores. So I am part of that family. Proforma has been in existence for over 30 years, so we have quite a nice reputation. I have been with Proforma for 12 years, so I've been a franchise owner. Greg and Vera Mazzillo, who started Proforma in Cleveland, have since moved their headquarters down here to Tampa, Florida, which works out great for me. So we do have some headquarter buildings on Davis Islands. And they and their entire family live here in Tampa. So I definitely try to piggyback off that awesome name.
And and I think we've met before, I believe, at a networking thing. Are you based out of like West Pasco? Is that where your location is?
I am actually in Northwest Tampa, so I am technically in Hillsborough County.
Okay.
I belong to the BNI group that meets in Lutz, and that's where I met you. So we have a lot of people in common.
Yeah. That's great.
I do a lot of business in Wesley Chapel in Pasco County.
So if you're doing printing, and I want to understand the model here a little bit. So if you're doing like printing and some of the is it embroidery too on shirts and logos and all that stuff? So do you guys have a central facility that does all this where you're just operating your, quote, for lack of a better term, storefront in your area, but everything you're putting in an order and it's going to a central location and coming back? How do you guys do that?
We actually operate as a broker/distributor. So Proforma is a $600 million company. We have huge buying power in the market. So we contract with actually the world's largest apparel suppliers, decorators, and promotional products providers. So I, as a business owner, can go out and match the perfect vendor to my customer. And it's really because we have buying power, Proforma gets incredible prices on apparel and decoration. I put the project together, matching the right apparel provider with the right decorator, and get the job done and price it that makes sense to the customer. So I'm a project manager. That's how I market to my customers. I'm not a salesperson. I've never liked that term. But I really will manage a project from creation through production to distribution. So I feel I am a project manager to help companies.
Okay, so walk me through this scenario. Let's like kind of do a little Proforma role play here. I'm a business owner. I own an HVAC company, and my team I need logos. I need business cards. I need shirts for my team in the field. I come to you, and you and I sit down, and you say, what are you looking for? And I give you the laundry list of things that I need.
Okay.
And then you go out and basically price it all out, or does someone generally give you a budget up front that you need to stay within? What is the logistics of how that works?
I have very few clients who come to me with a set budget. As hard as I try to get that out of people.
No, it's the $1 million question.
First, I would say congratulations, you made the right decision, because I am literally a one-stop shop for all projects, print, promotion, apparel. So I can manage different vendors, different timelines, deadlines. I'm the person to manage that in the background, instead of a marketing person or a business owner trying to manage 3 or 4 different components, like you say, business cards, shirts,
right,
magnets, pens, whatever it is. So that's in a nutshell what I do is, and I work as much as possible with local suppliers and manufacturers, because I'm a local business owner. I like to support other local businesses.
Yeah.
I do work locally with local suppliers. Then I can provide free pickup and delivery on a lot of my orders, which saves a ton of shipping charges. And actually, 1 to 2 days of shipping time. So that's another advantage of working locally.
So how often do you run into, and again, this isn't an indication of any specific type of client. This is just me educating myself on the process. So client comes to you, I need shirts, I need cards, I need all this stuff. So you say, great, Mike, let me go back and put together a proposal for you, right? And then you come back and say, well, all that is going to cost $10,000.
Right. What I'd like to do, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Is that where the client might say to you, all right, well, I don't need shirts all that bad. And then you're kind of picking and choosing, or maybe, hey, can I get T-shirts instead of collared shirts? You're doing that whole back and forth. You are like an a la carte concierge.
Very nicely put.
For that.
Yes. And also in my initial proposal, I try to do a good, better, best. So if you're looking for the down and dirty T-shirt, or you're looking for something a little nicer, maybe a little more tailored, or you're looking for top of the line Under Armour or Nike, something with a high brand recognition. I try to give them 3 categories so they can kind of go, well, we don't want to spend that much on promotional items. Let's really put more toward the apparel. So that's how I like to put a stake in the ground, I call it.
Yeah.
And then, they can review the proposal, the different pricing categories, and then we'll work from there.
Yeah, I mean, I know you don't like the term salesperson, but that is definitely a salesperson account rep tactic, because confused buyers don't buy. Like, they just don't end up making a decision because there's too many things going on. So showing them that, I always think of it as like Direct TV, right? They have their bundles. Like, here's bundle A, bundle B, and bundle C, which is good because it kind of dials people in. Do you find that there's a lot of back and forth, like where you're like, is it usually like, hey, I'll show you these 3 options, they pick good, better, or best, and then you tailor it after that? Is there a lot of back and forth tailoring stuff down, or are they generally like, you know what, better will work for me?
Not with the majority of customers. Now, that being said, I do have some customers that take a long time and they want to see samples. They want to touch it and feel it and pass it around.
Don't we all?
And I'm fine with that because especially on the bigger orders, if they're investing $10,000, $20,000 in a polo shirt order, they're gonna want to make darn sure that it's what they want and what they expect. So it really runs the gamut. But most of my customers, after a couple conversations or emails, you kind of get the gist of, okay, maybe they're on a limited budget, but they don't want to say that.
Yeah, we have
to push something off to the fall. Okay, we'll do this now, then we'll do this later. And I'm fine with that. My customers are customers for a long, long time.
So 2 questions I have for you based on all that information. Number 1, now that Proforma HQ essentially is here in Tampa, do you find a different layer of oversight than previously before? Or are you a franchisee and you run it the way you run it and there's not really a lot of, and I don't want to say interaction, but kind of involvement from quote unquote home office?
I am given complete autonomy, which is one of the things that attracted me to this whole company. I'm not limited geographically either, which was a huge selling point for me because I do have customers all over the country. So no, they do not. They're not a hands-on. They provide my technology. They provide the ordering system, which is state of the art,
Right.
fabulously connects me directly to my vendors. Um, and so it's just a fabulous system. So I feel I benefit so much from being part of that. Again, a $600 million company that has a multi-million-dollar proprietary enterprise system that makes my ordering and processing so streamlined. It's ridiculous. We have conferences once or twice a year, but they are not by any means prohibiting me from running the business the way I see fit within the guidelines of the contract that I signed, of course.
Right.
So, yeah.
So one of the questions that I have for that is, with full autonomy, you can get as cute as you want, right? As long as you're within the parameters of your agreement with them.
Correct.
So
Yes.
say you found a vendor that just happens to be better than any vendor that they have in their automated system. Are you allowed to stray from that and do
Yes.
stuff, or
Yes.
you have to bring them in as a preferred vendor?
No, I can use vendors that are not in our preferred system. But I have found in many cases when I use them again and again, many other local Proforma owners will start to use them. And more often than not, they end up getting on the preferred vendor list. And again, so the pricing even gets better because we're giving them huge volumes of business.
Yeah,
yes. So I've seen that happen with a couple of my decorators in particular here in Tampa.
So, all right, well, then I have other questions then about that. So the first question I have is, you had mentioned other Proforma franchisees here. How many, like, I know you said you can sell anywhere. If you bump into somebody on a vacation in Ohio, you can work with them.
Yes.
But how many franchise owners are there in the Tampa market?
In the Tampa market, that I'm not quite sure of. Across the country and worldwide, there are about 700 franchise owners. I'm going to guess in Tampa, maybe 30.
Wow.
All told in the Tri-County area. And
Wow,
they'll have different iterations of the Proforma name, but we're all part of Proforma. And many owners concentrate on certain areas of the business. Certain owners are very into print and don't really do a lot of promotional products or apparel. Other owners like myself, 65% of my business is apparel.
Okay.
And I do very little printing, although I have print vendors who are fabulous. But printing is very competitive.
Well, I mean, there is other competition in the market besides just what you guys do, right?
Absolutely.
There's the local guy, there's the other franchises and all that stuff. So one of the things you mentioned is decorators. Explain to me the relationship with Proforma and with you and your decorators. What are they decorating? You know, what is that? What are you doing there?
The way we operate is, well, the way I operate anyway, is when somebody places an apparel order, I order from a company that is probably one of the biggest apparel providers in the country on a wholesale basis. They happen to have a warehouse in Jacksonville, so I can ship one day to my local decorator who is able to do embroidery, silk screen, heat transfer. I have another vendor can do glitter and sparkly things for different decoration methods. So again, it really depends on what the project is. But I do have a handful of great local vendors that I can drive to, which is again wonderful. And we just work on a contract basis, basically.
But when you say, are you using the term decorators as more of like designer? Are they synonymous? Is that what we're saying?
No. When I say decorator, I mean a designer to me is a graphic designer who creates a logo or something, puts it in an art file that I then take to the decorator, and the decorator takes that art file and translates it into an embroidery on a polo shirt or a silk screen on a t-shirt, or a hat or a bag or something along those lines. So there's several people in the process.
You're the point person.
I am the point person. Yes.
So let me ask you this for you. And we've talked a lot about what Proforma is, what you do, your services, the process, all of that stuff. You personally, you've been doing this for 12 years. Is your background in the project management side? Is your background in some sort of printing and fulfillment side? How do you go? Did you work a corporate job before you slid into this franchise? How do you get to here?
Right. I am from a marketing background. I came to Tampa 35 years ago. I'm from upstate New York, where I was public relations director for a small zoo and children's museum.
In Rochester.
Binghamton.
Oh, okay. I was guessing. I was picking out one of the random cities in central
Syracuse,
Western New York.
Rochester, one of those places. But I'm from Binghamton, and I made the move down here in 1988. And I just landed a fabulous job with Chase. It was Chase Manhattan at the time. That's how long ago that was. But I landed a job in marketing in their student loan division. They were moving a lot of their back offices from Long Island to Tampa.
So you're the reason for all this student loan debt.
Exactly. So I landed a great job with them. I shifted over to mortgages at one point, but I was with Chase for 17 years and had a great marketing career. So I have bought print. I have bought apparel. I have bought promotional items.
You were in it. You were in
20 plus years. And so it's a natural fit for me to be on the other side of the desk, consulting with people who are now in the position to buy that. So it's the same business. I know it inside and out. I'm just coming at it from a different
angle.
Yes.
Yeah. So all right. So how do you make that transition? Or is the Chase gig kind of winding down and you're like looking for something, or does it just fall in your lap?
What happened was the Chase gig did wind down, reduction in force. They merged with Bank One, I think was the last one, and they wanted me to relocate. And Arizona. None of the three places that they suggested had any interest to me. So I took a nice severance package and went on my merry way and started freelancing. So I was doing freelance work for companies, doing case studies and white papers and website content.
Oh, such exciting stuff. Content. Yeah.
So actually, one of my biggest customers was in Moscow, Russia, believe it or not. But I did that for a couple of years. Unfortunately, that is not a moneymaker. People do not value. They don't value
boring as hell. I mean, writing white papers on whatever is just boring.
Yeah, exactly. So I had a call one afternoon from somebody named in Cleveland, Ohio, from Proforma, pitching me on this job that I thought they wanted me to relocate to Cleveland and be a marketing person. And again, I said, no, thank you.
Right.
My husband is in sales. I'm in marketing. Maybe, let's have another discussion, which we did. And we realized they were offering us a franchise opportunity. And we really liked the idea. So we did our due diligence. We went to Cleveland. We spent a weekend with them. We talked to other owners. And we came back and talked to some more people, present and former Proforma owners. And they had nothing bad to say about the franchise. And we just thought, this is a perfect fit for me to take my marketing background and, everybody wants to have their own business. So this was just a perfect, I'm not completely on my own. I have the credit and backing of Proforma, which is, again, fantastic. I couldn't have done it any other way. It allows me to work autonomously. I'm a female-owned business. I'm a one-woman show. And I'm a local business.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, and a similar thing happened to me with what I do is that somebody called me one day and saw my LinkedIn profile and saw my marketing background and said, hey, we want to talk to you about this thing. And then you start to vet things. And listen, I'm from the Northeast, so I'm cynical on everything. Like, I don't, yeah, sure I could, bring, these great things to these communities and whatever it is. And for a while I was cynical over it. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do this, but once you vet it and figure out that the fit works, clearly it's worked for you in 12 years in. So, some people find it fun. I don't personally find it fun. I know you do networking, but do you, when you're not networking and when you're not project managing people's various needs that they are looking for from a fulfillment standpoint, what do you like to do for fun when you're not in the office?
Believe it or not, I love cooking. I love researching recipes and blending recipes to create something new. But I'm a big proponent of the Food Network and the Cooking Channel. And once those hit the networks, that was my new gig. That's my addiction.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you the same question I hear on every first episode of Hell's Kitchen. What's your signature dish? If you're going to the electric chair and you get to cook your last meal, what's the meal that you're cooking that you're going to enjoy and say, this is it. This is as good as I can do it?
Oh my goodness. Well, I tell you what, I made something a couple of months ago that has been a dream of mine to try, brajol.
Okay. Pork brajol with the string around it and build it all together?
Stuffed beef.
Yeah.
And again, I researched recipes. I combined, I like this, I don't like that. And it was a day-long project, which I love. I love to take a Saturday or Sunday and plan it out. I'm all about mise en place. I measure everything out. It's like I'm putting on my own cooking show. But I enjoyed that process. And I'm telling you, I thought it was fabulous. So if that's going to be my last meal, I'll take some brajol with rigatoni. Thank you.
Okay, so growing up in North Jersey, you just go down to the deli and get a brajol. That's how you do it up there. But so are you the type, now you made that. That's a couple months ago. When it comes out and it's like magnifique, like beautiful, do you then go back and make it again and again? Like you enjoyed it so much, you have like the thing I think about, because for me, I'm a creature of habit. If I go to a restaurant and I like a meal, every time I go back to that, I'm not the guy that tries 17 different things. So I might eventually, but if it's something good, I'm going back to that place to eat that dish again. You make it. Everybody in the house loves it. Now, have you made it a second time or no? Is it too long?
I'm planning to. I actually pulled out the recipe this week. Funny you should ask, but I pulled it out, I think, on Sunday, because that's another thing. I will look at a recipe for a couple of days, making my shopping list, putting it together in my head. So it will happen. Maybe it'll happen this weekend. But,
all right. So listen, we can get into a whole bunch of stuff. There might be a Good Neighbor podcast cooking show in it for you here. There's some stuff that we could do there. Now, is your kitchen, and you said you lived like North Tampa. Have you and your husband remodeled the kitchen so it looks like Julia Child's shop? Do you have every saucepan you could possibly imagine? Do you have all that stuff?
We actually did remodel our kitchen a few years ago.
If it's a passion, you got to make it.
So I wanted a nice kitchen. And we do, if we see something like we bought a sous vide a couple of years ago, which is a mechanism. It's a French form of cooking, which you put in a heating element into a big pot of water.
And is it with bags? Is he using the bags?
Yes. Yep. And so we like to do different things like that. I've fallen in love with my air fryer now.
I love the air fryer.
I love the air fryer. I'll tell you what we do miss is that our local Publix used to have the cooking schools on the second level. Oh. And my husband and I would love to do that because they would show you the dish being made. They would give you the recipes. They would serve you. It was an experience. It was a night out. And they stopped doing that. I don't know if that was not a moneymaker for them, but I think that's where we got the bug. Part of the bug, that and from the TV cooking shows.
Okay, so what is your? I mean, there's a bunch of there's a whole network for food, right? So, is there one particular cooking show that you like the style of the chef? Because there's a guy, I'll tell you, I love watching this stuff. There's a guy he's on Instagram, I think. It's Notorious Foodie, Foodie. His videos are so good, and they speed him up, so you actually watch him. Okay. It's phenomenal. I watch that, but I don't sit down and watch a cooking show so much. Is there one that you get into more than others?
The Barefoot Contessa with Ina Garten.
Okay.
Yeah, so I do a lot of her recipes, which are, a lot of times very simple, like a nice roasted chicken. You just can't beat it. Or Marry Me Chicken is another one. So I like the style of the show. So that would be my go-to as far as curling up on a Saturday afternoon, figuring out what to cook on Sunday.
Yeah, I can tell you, my brother growing up was a chef, and he used to say, and as a kid, my jobs in high school and in college were prep cooking in these kitchens, and it was the worst. I mean, I had the worst job in the place. Yeah, I wouldn't call it a sous chef. I would call it dishwasher / knife boy would more be
the same thing. Yes.
So, but he used to say, cooking is an art and baking is a science. You need to, for baking, you need to measure precisely everything and put the ingredients in and the order, and everything needs to be precise. It needs to cook in an oven in an undisturbed, all these different things. Whereas cooking that you're describing, especially when you say, hey, I like this dish, I create a fusion, that's the art of cooking. So
comes from here, Mike.
Is it
from
there?
The heart.
Okay, so let me ask you this. It comes from the heart, okay? And your husband eats all your cooking.
Yes.
Has there ever been a time where you got a little too cute with a dish, you put it on the table, and your husband was like, Janice, I love you, but this tastes not for me?
I know there was one time, and I must have blocked it out of my head because I cannot remember what it was. But I swore to him I would never do it again, and I don't remember.
You threw that recipe out. You threw that combo out.
Because I'm not going to eat it all myself.
Yeah.
I must have purposely blocked it out of my brain because I can't remember what it was.
It's funny. My biggest problem with cooking, and I do like to cook as well. I mean, I'm not a super elaborate like you're talking about. I like to mix and match. I like cooking in the kitchen. I'm not a big grill guy. Most guys are like, I'm going to go out and cook meat on the grill. I'm not big into that. But I find my problem is I cook way too much.
Yes.
So like, even though I didn't come from a huge family, we were all heavy. We were all overweight. All we did was eat bread and red gravy. That was what we ate. So like I have right now in my freezer bags of tomato sauce that is just frozen in small, because it was just me. So we're like, hey, I don't want to make a whole big pot of sauce. So I would cook it, cool it, put it in bags in small increments so I could make a cup of pasta with my sauce.
I grew up with an Italian mother. There's no such thing as
no moderation.
Little, no.
Yeah, moderation.
Kids.
Six kids in Binghamton.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, while we're on Binghamton, the worst highway in the United States is Route 81 that runs right through Binghamton. Yeah. There is snow season, and then there's road repair season. Yeah. I drove that road almost every weekend for a year, and it was awful. Absolutely awful. New York? My ex-wife is from Rochester. She lived in Syracuse. I lived in New Jersey. So we spent, 10 months going back and forth on that road. And it was just absolutely brutal. Yeah, and especially the little cut through, what is it called? Susquehanna Valley. That's like just south of where you are. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, not my favorite road on the planet. And then when you get in the summertime, it's literally like pothole central because it's being plowed all winter long. It's insane.
Hey, somebody's brother-in-law is making a ton of money.
Oh, yeah. Somebody has the contract on that. Yeah. They have a preferred vendor for sure that's doing that. So as we start to wrap this up, give me because there's a lot of competition in your business. What is the one reason? I can think of from talking to you, the thing I would think of, but I want to hear it from you. What's the one reason people need to use you over XYZ Press, XYZ Printing, and whoever else they're going to use? Why come to you?
Again, I am a local business owner. I will try to meet or beat any pricing. And again, I rely on my awesome vendors for that, but there's rarely been an occasion where I could not do that. Where possible, I offer free local delivery, saving time and money. And I am a consultant, and I am a consultant with a smile. You will always get your products delivered with a smile. I do not collect payment until the product is received and you're happy with it. I'm not like pay up front and you get what you get. So I think those are what differentiate me in the marketplace.
And if someone is out there listening to this right now and they're saying, look, I need these services. I need to get shirts done. I need to do logos and branding and all that stuff for my business. What's the best way for them to get to you?
My phone number is 813-784-8928. My email is Janice, JANICE.Pratt, PRATT, @proforma.com. And I have a website at jpadvantage.proforma.com. And they can look online at all my products on my online store.
So, folks, if you're listening to this, Janice Pratt at Proforma, she's local, she's woman-owned, she's with basketball playoffs going on right now. She is your point guard that is going to manage your project, and she's going to be your point of contact. You don't have to go to 10 different locations. Contact her. She offers so many different things to help your brand get the proper, consistent branding that's needed for your brand to stick out. She can help you do it all. She's going to price shop for you to get you the best deal out there. She's your person. You need to contact her at 813-784-8928. We will include the website, the emails, and all that information in this podcast. Janice, thank you for being a good neighbor. Thank you for being on the Good Neighbor podcast.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Passcode. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnppasco.com. That's gnppasco.com or call 813-922-3610.